Good morning. I'm Donna, and welcome to Much Ado About Something. Today we'll be making cranberry sauce. The holidays are coming up, Thanksgiving's coming up, and I love to use cranberry sauce at Thanksgiving and Christmas, and to eat it through the year. Well, today we're just going to make a simple cranberry sauce recipe from whole berries. These are ocean spray berries. I bought them at Sam's, and on the back there's a recipe. There's whole berry cranberry sauce, and there's homemade jelly cranberry sauce. Today we're going to make the whole berry cranberry sauce. The ingredients are 1 cup water, 1 cup sugar, and 3 cups of the ocean spray fresh or frozen cranberries. Ours are fresh today. The only substitution I'll be making today is instead of water, I'll be using 100% apple juice. I do that sometimes because apple juice will add a little more flavor. You won't taste the apple in it, but it'll add a little more flavor to your cranberry sauce. But you can make it exactly like the instructions say, and it'll turn out just as good. The first thing we need to do is wash our berries. I've measured these berries. There's 10 cups of berries to a 2-pound bag of ocean spray cranberries. I'll be multiplying this recipe by 3 today because I'll be serving a lot of people. But you can just make a batch according to your needs to however many people you'll be serving the cranberry sauce to. So we'll just let these cranberries drain a little bit. I think they're beautiful. They just look like the holidays. So the instructions on their bag tell us to bring the water and sugar to a boil in a medium saucepan. Add cranberries and return to a boil. Alright, so we're going to add our juice. I already have the 2 the ingredients for the first 2 batches are already in there, so we'll just be adding got a little apple juice happy there. We'll just be adding our 3 cups of juice or water. You can certainly add juice or water. And then a cup of sugar, per cup of water or juice. I have a candy thermometer in here so that I can tell when it hits the softball stage. And right in here is the softball stage. It's just right under 240 degrees. I already have the juice and the sugar heating up on just a little below high on the stove there. See? And we'll follow our instructions. It said bring water and sugar to a boil in a medium saucepan. So that's what we're doing right now. We've got this water and sugar in here, and we're going to bring it to a boil. Stir that sugar in a little bit. When that comes to a boil, we'll add our cranberries. I love all types of berries. I tell you, I love to make jams and jellies. Of course, I'm reducing sugar, so I'm not eating a lot of these. But you can just use a healthy amount, like 1 teaspoon at a time, whenever you're adding it into your holiday meal. It's a sauce. It's not something you load up on. It's just something you use over your turkeys or just add it into your meal. So delicious. While we're letting that boil, so we can add our cranberries. Now this says that you can pour the sauce into a bowl, cover it, and cool it completely at room temperature. Refrigerate it until serving time, and it makes 2 1/4 cups. But today I'll be putting mine in a jar. Of course, you don't have to do that, but you can easily can this. If you wanted to can your cranberry sauce, just follow the canning steps for that. But today we're just going to concentrate on making it, and it says it makes 2 1/4 cups each time you make this recipe. I'm making this whole 2-pound bag. Of course, you don't have to do that. You can just make one batch at a time. We're waiting for this to come to a boil, and then it says after it comes to a boil, you just cook it, let it cook, simmer for 10 minutes, or boil gently for 10 minutes. So it doesn't take a whole lot of time to make this recipe. Cranberries have a lot of pectin in them, so there's no other added ingredient other than the cranberries, the water or juice, one or the other, and sugar. So it's just 3 simple ingredients to make this cranberry sauce. Very easy to make. I may crush my berries up in there a little bit with my spoon, but I think the whole berries are beautiful. You can certainly crush them up in a food processor and make this too, or make the jellied cranberry sauce where you're just using the juice off of the cranberries. But today we're making the whole berry cranberry sauce. Okay, our water's boiling. I don't know if you can see that through the steam, but we're going to go ahead and add our cranberries. We're going to set our timer for 10 minutes. That'll give us an idea of the time frame. And as this comes back up to boil, I just like to use this thermometer. I know you don't have to use it with the cranberries, but I like to know how hot the food's getting. You can see the cranberries are starting to crack in there. And it says to stir frequently so that it doesn't stick to the bottom of your pan. When you pick your sauce pot, you want to be sure you got a good heavy bottomed pan, and leave plenty of room. You don't have to have a pot quite this big, but you just make sure you leave plenty of room so when this starts boiling, it'll have room to rise and it won't boil over your pot. If you put your pot too full, your cranberries will boil over. So you want to make sure you got plenty of head space for your, when your jam starts boiling, it'll have room to rise. Well, they say a watched pot never boils, so this is going to take about 10 minutes. If you just ate a cranberry raw, it wouldn't taste all that great. It doesn't have any very much sweetness to it, so it's a tart berry. But when you cook it and you add that sugar to it, oh my goodness, how delicious that turns out. So we're just going to let that boil for 10 minutes. And stir it frequently so that it won't stick. I can see the berries are starting to soften up. Now I'm just crushing some of the berries against the side of the pot, but if you want to leave yours whole, you can certainly do that. They're beautiful when you put them in the jars or when you serve it with whole berries. You see it's starting to rise now, and it's boiling really good in there. It'll have a beautiful red color. We're just watching and waiting for it to so that all that pectin can be released from those berries. There's a lot of pectin, natural pectin in cranberries. So all that natural pectin will be released in there, and that'll be what thickens up and makes your sauce. Starting to get more red. We still got a few minutes left on the timer. Let me stick this thermometer in here and just see about what temperature it's coming to. You see how much that is rising up in the pot as it boils? It's like a foam on top. Of course, when you take it off the heat, most of that foam will go away. And if there's any foam left, you can just skim it off. But it raises up quite a bit in the pot. And if your pot wasn't big enough, that would be boiled all over your stove, and that would be a big mess. So you want to make sure your pot's big enough. This is something you can make early. You can make it ahead for your Thanksgiving meal or for any time. You can make it ahead. It has a lot of sugar in it, so it's a natural preservative. And, you know, if you don't can it, you can put it in your refrigerator and it'll keep until your Thanksgiving dinner. Just a few seconds left here on the timer. We'll be putting it in our jars. There we go. So we'll go ahead and turn this heat off. There's our cranberry sauce. We'll take this thermometer out. I can already tell by the way it's sticking on the spoon that it's not completely jelly, but it's going to firm up good. Okay, you can skim this foam off. I usually don't skim it off because it doesn't bother me. But it is prettier with that off. And just go ahead and start dipping your... Be careful, it's very, very hot. Not anything you would want to spill on you, that's for sure. Well, there we go. There's our cranberry sauce. Now, as it cools, it will be delicious. I'm going to go ahead and can this up, but if you wanted to not can it and put it in your refrigerator, you would just put a lid on it and put it in the refrigerator, and it would firm up and be just like jelly, like the cranberry sauce that you buy, but this one has whole berries in it. Look how beautiful. Now, who wouldn't want to serve that for their Thanksgiving meal? Thank you for joining me today.